how to be a feminine woman that's also a highly successful one. Firstly, there are a few kind of energies that you can be embracing when it comes to feminine energy and being in your feminine flow, right? So when we're thinking about like, I just want to be feminine, it's really about you want to be in that receivership energy. You want to be able to surrender. You want to be able to flow with your days and just move through it. You want to be able to feel like you can just respond to what's coming through and move through with grace and ease and not feel like you're pushing and hustling and having to do and try and push all the time because it's very draining. We want to be feeling like we are in this like energy of grace and magnetism and surrender, because that's really the ultimate feminine energy that you want to be in. Now, because of capitalism and this idea of just like make more money, you are better if you make more money, spend your whole life just making money because then you're enough, basically. Like this constant just push of capitalism. Feminism and capitalism are very linked. Anyway, what can happen because of that is that we really put this like or into this topic. Like I can be feminine or I can be really successful. I can be feminine or I can be a girl boss. It's just this or. And it doesn't help that like a lot of women don't understand how their hormones and their nervous system works and all that kind of stuff. So we're seeing these women that are just like killing it in the corporate world, burning themselves out beyond belief. And it's because they are choosing or. It's like, I can only do this. I can't be feminine or this. And for a lot of us, let's not forget that we have shamed the feminine, that we don't embrace our own feminine. We think the feminine is weak and lame. And we honestly feel insecure about our feminine. If you think about it, like how many of you in school would label those cool girl qualities as kind of like, no, sorry, not label cool, like the things that you would label as cool girl qualities were really more masculine, right? Not being too emotional, like playing games, like being like, don't be too fucking artsy because then you're weird. Like wear a cool outfit, like don't be too girly, don't wear too much of a girly dress, fit in with the boys, play sports. Like a lot of us have really shamed and berated our feminine qualities within us. That's not to say playing sports is like not cool or not good. What I'm saying is that if you were to reflect, because I know if I reflect, this is true, there are so many of us that we really put the masculine qualities on a pedestal and we made the masculine qualities like a good thing. And we made the feminine qualities a bad thing. I was going to test my sound. Hold on a second. Are we good? Testing. Yep, we're good. So a lot of us really have shamed a lot of the feminine qualities. And what that then means is that we don't admit what we want for ourselves. So what happens is that we are hustling towards these kind of masculine traits of success, right? We're hustling, we're pushing, we're really thinking that if you achieve A, B, C, X, Y, Z, you're going to feel enough. And by doing that and making these masculine qualities the thing that makes us feel enough, what happens is we reject the feminine parts of ourselves that need to feel full in order to feel happy. So we reject our need for connection, for love, for sensuality, for touch, for intimacy, for aesthetics, for creativity, for flow, for time, for space, for calmness, like for softness. We reject all of those parts of ourselves, and instead we only embrace the really masculine traits. And whilst there are benefits, obviously, in some situations to really embracing the masculine traits, and we need to be able to have both, and there's sometimes we need to really bring in those masculine traits, what can happen is that we create this story where you can't be a really feminine woman and a really successful one. Now, some of us don't want to be, we tell ourselves we don't want to be a really feminine woman because we think that that in order to be really successful and we want the success more, that we have to be a different kind of archetype. We have this like girl boss archetype, this boss bitch where, in order for us to be successful, that's who we have to be. And like, she doesn't embrace the feminine qualities. She's not saying out loud, I can't wait to go home and just like snuggle with my man, because that would be lame, weak, and pathetic. So what happens for a lot of us very subconsciously is we choose one or the other. right? You maybe have chosen the more feminine route, the more nurturing, mothering, I'm staying at home with my children route. And so you might feel nourished, but you also then might feel depleted of the success side, right? We'll jump to that in a second. Or you choose the route of like, I'm going to go down the success avenue. But then what happens is like you're single at 50 and you've barely dated. You can't find a man that you're attracted to, or you can't find a man that will stick around. You are miserable. You're at home alone and you feel like, well, this is fucking great. I have millions of dollars in my account and no one to share it with. So what we're seeing happening is we are coming against this like complete polar opposite. And in my opinion, neither woman is happy because we're not admitting what we need. We are fitting in to like a status quo. We're either fitting in to what we think we should do as a woman because maybe you grew up in, let's say, a really religious culture where the women just stay at home and look after the kids, or you are fitting into the story of capitalism where it's like the more successful I am, the better I am as a woman. Or you're fitting into this like feminism, like fuck men, I'm going to prove that I'm better than them or I'm as good as them. And really it's just breeding anger. So there's so many of us that are walking around with this sadness and hollowness and anger in our bodies because we're not feeling whole and complete in the way that we want to be feeling. Then we are coming up with this situation now where there is a rise of successful women, fucking great, that are wanting to be in their feminine as well. Fucking great. Like we are here for it. I am fucking here for it. Yes, yes, yes. Then the problem is now it comes into relationships and they want a man that leads, but they're leading. Okay, so this is problem number one. They want a man that leads, but they're leading. They're in their masculine. They're not in their feminine. They don't know how to be in their feminine. They don't know how to have both. They emasculate, shame, berate men. And then they are saying there's only like pathetic men, like all men are this, all men are that. And like they can't find any good men. All the good men are taken, or they need to find this like super, super, super alpha male, which generally speaking, the really like alpha looking males are generally pretty pathetic because it's really all the front. It's like an insecurity thing. This is like generally speaking, and they are still feeling shit. So they are wanting to be more in their feminine. They have the success, but then they're feeling like, well, if I have all the success, now this is a problem. Like now their success and their money and their influence and their career or whatever is now a problem that they're coming up against with dating and relationships. So then it creates shame on their success. They feel shame about that level of wealth. They feel shame about their choices. They feel shame because they're hitting this point where they're like, I'm so fucking unhappy. I just want to be in my dream relationship, but now I can't have it because of all the success that I built over the last X amount of years, and I'm intimidating to men. I cannot tell you how many women think they are intimidating to men. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that they get into a relationship without dating a guy, and they do want to be in their feminine. They know how to be in their feminine, but the money is becoming a problem because whilst they know how to be in their feminine, they don't know how to navigate the situation of, well, I really want him to be the provider, but I've made an exorbitant amount of money than he has, and I'm used to my quality of life, and I'm not willing to not settle, but like be at his quality of life. Let's say, for example, you make 7 figures a year. Let's do something more realistic. Let's say you make $500,000 a year. I know it's not realistic to like so many people, but I'm just saying this because like in corporate world, you could be highly successful and like that's very doable. So you make $500,000 a year. I know there's a lot of women that are corporate in here. That's why I'm saying this. You make $500,000 a year, and let's say he makes $150,000. That's still a fuckload of money. Someone that's making $150,000 a year. But to you, you are like, well, I'm used to the quality of life of $500,000 a year or $500K. So he wants to lead. He wants to be in his masculine, and he is masculine. And you want to be in your feminine. You want to receive, and you want him to lead and look after you. But then it's like, but then how the fuck does this work? Because of the money issue. And this is then the new problem that people are hitting up against, where they've got the whole feminine masculine thing down pat. They know where they want to be. They know they want to be feminine. They know they want to be masculine, blah, blah, blah. But then the money comes in. of like, okay, well, how can he be the provider and the protector and X, Y, and Z if I'm the one making the money and I don't want to feel the burden if I have to make the money? I don't want to feel like I'm paying for everything. I don't want to feel like, I want a certain kind of dress to be delivered to my door for a date night, but like he can't afford that because that'd be his whole month's paycheck, for example. Can you see how then there's this problem where then women are like, oh, this is still not enough. Like I need a man that makes even more money than me. And then men on the flip side are feeling like they are not enough. So it's exacerbating the stories that we are creating in our head because we are continuing to buy in to the idea of men have to make more money than us and that money is the means of providing and money is masculine. So when we heal the understanding of money, feminine energy and masculine energy, that's great. And then the added layer is like, can you trust yourself? Like, ladies, do you trust yourself? Because if you do not trust yourself, you are not going to trust a man. And a lot of women don't trust themselves. A lot of people do not trust themselves. There has been a moment in their life where they have basically said, see, I can't trust myself. I make the wrong choices. I fuck myself over. I do the wrong things. I'm dumb. I'm whatever else it is. And they feel like they can't trust their body, their intuition, and themselves. So what happens is they project that onto other people. And trust is a journey. Like trust is a fucking journey. To be able to fully trust yourself and therefore fully trust somebody else, it is a journey. But you are not going to enjoy life if you do not let yourself trust others. You are going to constantly have a closed heart if you are constantly thinking that other people are going to fuck you over. And that's why doing the trauma stuff around money and around like men and relationships is so important, because you don't want to be bringing that shit into your new relationship or into your current relationship. It's really, really important. So, okay, just going back to the topic. So being a feminine woman is also a highly successful one. It's not opposites, but it's kind of opposites, right? Like feminine success, like it's not opposite, but like in terms of capitalism, it's opposite, right? Like the feminine's like, oh, she just does nothing and stays at home according to capitalism. And then the success is like, yes, like fucking killing it, girl boss, blah, blah, blah. So in our brains, a lot of us, because of the influence of society, we have them as opposites. So for some of you, you need to try and like think of it like I'm embracing the duality. Like I'm embracing the one side of myself and the other side of myself. Because for a lot of you, for a period of time, it may feel like it's opposite. It's like you have to swap into your feminine, swap into your like work mode. And that's okay if that's how you have to feel for a little bit. The most important thing is that you're letting yourself do that.